All right, well, we'll make a start. This always feels somewhat odd, I have to say, with a small group, and here am I. I've got a microphone. I feel like I should be in a position to give a lecture. Come and join us. How you going? I'm Steve. Nice to meet you. Come and join this group. They're going to make some room around the back here for you so you can join everybody. I'm going to come and sort of sit with you. I believe that most people who are online are welcome to Lucy, Ella, and Austin. They've all indicated that they can hear me, which is terrific. For those people online, Lucy, Ella, and Austin, if you've got questions along the way, just put it into the chat box, and I'll sort of come to that. All right. So, welcome to everyone. You're in the right place if you're about to study a secondary education degree. So, is that what you're all here for? Yeah, fantastic. Is there anyone here who is actually looking at doing health and physical education? Yes? Yeah, you look like an athlete, so you're probably in the right place. So what we're going to do today is we're going to sort of cover both of these different degrees and just give you, really this is just an overview. All right, so it's an overview, and then there's an opportunity today to ask any questions that you might have. We've got some experts in the room over here, actually. So my name's Steve. I'm the secondary degree coordinator, and there's lots and lots of stuff that I do know, but there's also lots and lots of stuff I don't know. And the minute that I don't know it, I just go to one of the members of the team over here and I say, what's the situation here? So today, between all of us, we'll be able to answer all of your questions, okay? Following this, we also then have an opportunity to sort of head downstairs and grab a bite to eat and meet some other staff, all right? So let's get underway. Welcome, first of all, to the College of Education, Psychology and Social Work. So you're obviously all here because you're interested in education. But as a college, we actually have sort of this umbrella where we also have a focus here, students who are studying psychology and social work. And if you sort of have a look at, well, what is it that all of those things have in common? They're all about some degree of social transformation. So if you think about what it is that you're looking, why it is that perhaps you're wanting to be an educator, I bet it's because in some way you're looking to make the world in which we all live a slightly better place. And hopefully as an educator, that provides you with a really good opportunity. All right, so let's acknowledge, I suppose, the very place that we are today. It's a really important place. We know that we're on Kaurna land. This is a place where education's been in existence for thousands and thousands of years, but it hasn't been an education, I suppose, in the form that lots of us might think about in terms of schooling. But that doesn't mean that education didn't take place, because for Indigenous persons to survive and thrive for thousands and thousands of years, you actually need something that is really robust and really sustainable. So I wish to acknowledge the fact that we're on Kaurna land. And this spot out here is really significant, actually. So if we have a look at something that's said by Kaurna elders, they will talk about this particular place here has been known for a long time as a place where the valleys meet the winds. And it's not too windy out here at the moment, but sometimes you step out there and you feel this wind, and a very cold wind sometimes. And when you feel that wind, what it's doing is it's connecting you actually to thousands and thousands of years of history. So a really powerful place where you're about to embark on your studies. All right, so we're going to have a look at a couple of different degrees today. The first one being the secondary education degree. So I'm the course coordinator for that. There was another guy in here just before. Now, Eliza, you met him briefly. So his name's Cheeto. Cheeto's going to come and join us again in a minute. I think he's just taking his bags and things up to the office. But he actually oversees this next one here, health and physical education. So that will be important for you. So if you've got questions, he'll be the perfect person for you to ask. Now, what's worth passing on is that Cheeto's in an acting capacity at the moment. And in around about 5 or 6 weeks' time, Christian Grokey, who is the regular course coordinator, he'll be back. Okay, so Cheeto can answer your questions for now, but there'll be another person, Christian, who's returning from leave shortly. So just to give you a sense, actually, of these different degrees, if you're doing a secondary education degree, you end up doing 2 academic majors. So 2 areas that you can actually teach in schools. One that ultimately you can teach up to year 10, and another one that you can take at year 11 and 12. So I dare say you've probably given that a fair amount of thought already around what those particular areas are. You've then got general education topics, where we get to look at things like, what's the purpose of education? You know, that's a massive question actually to consider. And it's often the sort of question that really good educators have thought about. And they've thought, well, why are we actually doing what we're doing? And those education topics also pick up on pedagogical approaches, like how do you teach? If I had my way today, I would lose this microphone because it immediately puts a barrier between me and you. And I see education as being incredibly relational. So I want to get rid of this. And I don't wish to stand here. I have no desire to stand here. I have a desire to be here so that we work together. So these are the sort of things that, you know, we look at across the education degree. You'll notice there also that there's some curriculum specialisation topics. So you'll actually do these in your third year of study and your fourth year of study, so that not only are you getting your head around, I suppose, the basics of your areas of specialisation, but you also understand the curriculum in terms of the Australian curriculum, but also the SACE, so that you get your head around those sort of things, so that when you actually head into schools, when you've finished, you're absolutely ready to go. The final thing you'll see there in green is around placement experiences. And you get to do those in your second, your third, and your fourth years. And they actually build. So in your second year, you do 15 days of placement. We've got quite a few people who are out on placement at the moment. It happens in two different ways, actually, in second year. So in your second year, you might do 3 weeks in a row, or you might do 1 day a week over 15 weeks, okay? Your third year placement goes for 25 days, and we ramp up the teaching. So you don't do as much teaching in your second year, but in your third year you do, and in your fourth year, you're teaching almost a full load, like you would if you're a full-time teacher in a school. Okay, so it just keeps progressively ramping up, but we sort of prepare you along the way. All right, this one here, in terms of the health and phys ed course, it's a little bit different in that there's one major that you teach through to year 12, either health and wellbeing or physical education. And then you've got 2 minors, and this is where it's a little bit different to the other course offering. So those are areas that you can teach up to year 10. So health, physical education, and then one other area. And you then go through and you do the general education topics like we mentioned before, the curriculum specialisation, as we mentioned before, and your placement experiences, okay? So what I'm going to do just at this point, I'm going to pause. And what I would like you to do with whoever's sort of close to you, those of you in the room, and for those of you who are online, can you quickly tell whoever's close, or if you're online, just put in the chat box, what are your areas that you're looking to specialise in, okay? So I'm going to hand over to you for about 90 seconds, and then we're going to keep going. All right, off you go. What are the areas you're looking to specialise in? All right, fantastic. So we've got people online who, we've got Lucy has indicated, I think it was phys ed. It was up there momentarily. So looks like you've got a partner in crime there actually with phys ed, which is nice. We've got Ella with English and French. Anyone else doing English or a language here? Okay, which ones are we doing? English or a language? English, okay. English is always fairly popular. And we've got Austin with maths and business. Anyone else doing maths or business here? No, what were the other areas? What have we got? Very good. Nutrition, environmental science. Psychology and art. Excellent. All right. What were yours? One was English and HAS. Okay, fantastic. So when we get to lunchtime, I'll introduce you to someone who works in that space. In the phys ed area, what are the other areas you're looking at? Okay. Yep. Well, I can. Is Joss here today? Okay. I'll introduce you to Joss. He looks after outdoor ed. He's fantastic at what he does, and you're going to have some fun because you're going to do mountain biking and kayaking and abseiling and all that fun stuff. All right, let's keep going. In terms of what to expect, couple of things when you sort of step in and you're involved in the degree. This is the one that is really important to know. You're actually going to be involved if you're studying full time. It's 36 hours of study. Now, the reason that we actually tell you that is because sometimes, like, we get the bit where students say, I have to earn money. We completely understand. But the person who says, I work 60 hours a week and I'm studying full time, it's a recipe for disaster. It just doesn't work. So I really want you to come away from today thinking about how am I going to make everything actually come together? Because in my experience, part-time efforts bring about part-time sort of results, not in terms of if you're a part-time student, that's fine. But if you're a full-time student giving this a part-time effort, it simply doesn't get you where you need to go. Okay. And sometimes people think, I'll make this work. And invariably it comes unstuck. Each of those 4.5 unit topics is about a 9-hour commitment per week. Now, often, just got some students waving to me as we go past. Sometimes people will look at their schedule and they say, I don't know how this can actually equal 9 hours a week because I might have a 1-hour lecture and 2 hours of a workshop. That's only 3 hours. But then it's things like actually doing the academic readings that are really important. It's about preparing for the assignments that becomes really important. It's about getting together with your groups that you might be presenting with. And all of those things added up sort of come to that, at least 9 hours a week. The next one is obviously you do have work commitments. You've got to sort of consider that. Can I get a show of hands in the room who's currently doing some sort of part-time work? And I thought that would probably be the case. So this is the sort of stuff we've just got to keep in mind. For those of you who are online, maybe you can just type in for us a yes if you happen to be involved in some part-time work. We need you to get some sleep sometimes. Okay? I'm always interested to have a look at when people email me. The student who emails me at 2:21 a.m., regardless of what they're asking me, I'm always thinking, are you all right? You need some sleep in order to function. We want you to get some physical activity in your life. I mean, being a phys eder, you'll know the human body is designed to move. So I don't need to convince you of that, but you need that to feel good about yourself. So we want that to kick in. We want you to continue to have a social life or just have a life. All right. So I want you to come away from today and seriously think about how do I make this work so that you're not sort of burning the. All right, in terms of your attendance, this becomes really important as well. When you come here, when you're teaching or when you're developing your skills as a teacher, one of the things you actually have to do is you have to experience it. You have to experience teaching that you go, I didn't like that, but I did like that. And you need to be part of, I suppose, feeling the different, what we would call pedagogical possibilities. All right, so one pedagogical possibility is I stand here and I just talk at you. If I'm being really honest, I think that's as boring as batshit. Or we can take you through a guided discovery approach where we say, hang on, you've all got expertise. Let's lean on your expertise and get you to try something. And on the back of that, you discover certain things. Now, in both cases, learning goes on, but we need you to actually feel these things. So this is where attendance becomes important because some people will say, I just workshop, but then you haven't actually felt the learning. All right. So we want you to feel it because then you'll go into your placement in second year, third year, and fourth year, and you know some of the different approaches that you can actually lean on. Now, what's important also to hit on here is that as part of your degree accreditation through the Teachers Registration Board, We need to know that not only have you been taught something, but you have to have practiced it and you have to have been assessed on it. So often we can, hey, going, come on in. No, that's all right. That's fine. Come and take a seat right here. See that white seat? We've dedicated that one to you. What's your name? Georgia, nice to meet you. So when it comes to things like assessments, sometimes even if you weren't here for heaps of classes, you might pass an assessment, but we might not be able to claim that you were taught something because you weren't here. And we might not be able to claim that you practiced it because you were not here. So this is where attendance becomes really, really important. All right. So what I suggest to my students in any class I take is my expectation is you're here for every single minute of every single class. And if you can't make it because you're sick, what you should do, as any professional in a school would do, is you should email me. Because a teacher, if they're not going to be there on a particular day, they contact the school and say, I can't make it because I'm unwell. And that's the sort of communication you should have with any of your tutors. Then what they will do is they will give you some sort of make-up work for that particular class that you've missed. And then they can say, fantastic, you've satisfied all the learning outcomes, but you've only been away for one class, no problem at all. All right, we want you to obviously plan some of your studies. This is the time, obviously, to get to, I suppose, some of that planning, and some of today is really based around that. I want to take you through some study plans, and perhaps this is where I can bring in the team over here a little bit, and maybe if there's some things that I miss or some things that you might like to add, feel free to let me know. But if you're studying full time, those of you in the room, show of hands, who's studying full time? All of you, okay? Bar Eliza. Yeah, okay, so part-time for you, Eliza. For those of you online, can you just type in if you're going to be studying part-time or full-time? So if you happen to be full-time, you'll be doing 4 topics each semester. All right, so we have a semester 1, a semester 2. We're about to kickstart with semester 2, with classes more or less starting next Monday. So full-time there for Lucy and Vella. Okay. If you're part-time, that means that you're doing 3 topics or less per semester. It's worth noting that Centrelink, if you are receiving any Centrelink payments, they require a minimum of 3 topics to still keep receiving your student benefits. Now, sometimes over your course, you might actually change from full-time student, you might change to part-time for a period of time, but just keep this in mind because it has a financial impact, obviously, if you drop to, say, 2 topics. What we don't want you to do, if you have a look at that red part, do not attempt to create your own study plan as you will encounter difficulties in future years. Here are the experts, all right? Our experts in terms of creating study plans are right here. And what I suggest is you follow their advice because it is really good advice and you'll always be given possibilities about what you might be able to do to complete your degree in a timely manner. If you do seek advice and you're wondering about how to complete things in a particular way, you'll notice an email address there, askflinders@flinders.edu.au. Pretty much anything that you want to find out, send it to that email address, and what they do is they triage it. And anything that's around, okay, secondary education and a course question, it'll go straight through to people like Saya and Caroline, who will answer that question for you directly in and around education. All right, so that's an important email address to have there. You can also have a look at what the course rules happen to be. So sometimes people wonder, oh, can I go on placement if I haven't done these particular topics? Well, what you can do is you can actually go on and you can have a look at what those different course rules are, all right? So I won't go into that in detail today. These slides will be made available to you. You can just go back and have a look at them again if you'd like to, but you can have a look at your first year, second year, third year, fourth year of study and so on, and just see what those rules are. Now, before we keep going, are there any questions? Sorry, are there anything further that either of you would add on this?
Steve just gave you the email, the Ask Flinders one. If you email that, that will go to the central hub. So any question, whether it's parking or whatever, but if you specifically know that you've got a question that relates to your course or your topics, there's a different email we can give that will come straight to the college. So it's less of a queue. And that if you want. Yeah, so if you just, it's the courseadvice.epsw@flinders.edu.au, that'll come straight to the college. And then if it's secondary, Saya or myself will deal with it.
Fantastic.
No, I just wanted to see.
I was going to write it up there as well. I think Saya and I were thinking the same thing. We'll write it up for you. Maybe Saya, would you be able to grab a pen from somewhere? We'll write that up for you on the whiteboard here, and we'll also just put it for those people online. We'll put it in the chat area, and that way we can answer. You know, you can go directly through to Saya and Caroline. Okay, let's have a bit more of a look here now at what a study plan might look like. So over your 4 years, this is the sort of thing that you will actually have sort of produced for you to say, here's how everything sort of comes together. And what you've got here is your first year, second, third and fourth year of study, semester 1, semester 2. You'll notice here that you've got a whole series of things that are part of one of your areas of specialisation. Then you've got in the pink another area of specialisation because you've got 2. These green ones here are things like your education topics that look at, well, how do you teach? Why do you teach? Things like educational psychology, sociology of education, those sort of things. And then you've also got a couple of blocks in here around curriculum studies. So this just gives you a plan so you can go, okay, I can see what I'm doing now. I can see what's coming next. And what it allows you to do is to start to see some of these links that take place between different topics that you're involved in. Okay. Has anybody already got a study plan sort of like this at this stage? Can we get a show of hands in the room? Okay. So if is that something that students, is that sort of being done at this stage, Caroline? Yeah. So for those people online, if you are seeking actually you know, a study plan that looks like this for those of you in the room, you'll be able to go to this email address that we're about to put up here, and then the course advisors will put it together for you. And you can just see this is how it's all going to lay out. All right, it's a really useful thing to have. All right, a couple of other things. Some of you probably know a little bit about this before, have known about this from before. Who knows something about Landtight? Know a little bit about Landtight? Anyone else know anything about Landtight and what it is? Yeah, very good. So it focuses on 2 areas, Landtight. It looks at, yeah, literacy and numeracy. If we have a look at what we're tending to do in schools at the moment, we have a look at things like NAPLAN testing. What does it focus on? Literacy and numeracy. So you can see that when we look at the purpose of education, we can see that, I suppose, at, you know, that higher system level, we can see what the purpose of education is being sort of ascribed to be at the moment. It's about English literacy and it's about, you know, numeracy. Some of us here, however, might say, what about the other curriculum areas? What about the fact that the body's designed to move? Is that not important in the modern world and all that stuff? So this becomes really important for you because you will actually need to complete that in order to get your degree at the end and be able to teach. What we suggest to people is that you try and actually complete this sooner rather than later. If you know for a fact that there's one area that you're stronger in than the other, we suggest that you actually sit that test first of the 2, all right? Get some runs on the board, get some confidence, and then look to do the other one over time. But ultimately, you need to pass both the literacy and the numeracy in order to then become a practicing teacher in a school. So when you get these slides, you can simply use that QR code there. That will take you through to one of our Flinders pages that gives you lots and lots of details about how the Landtight works. Okay, student ID cards. I'm not sure, has anybody already got a student ID card? A few of you already, fantastic. So if you haven't got one of those at this stage, you can simply order that. You'll see the process on there, order my ID card under the quick links, and that'll obviously help you when you go to do things like cheaper prices for movies and things like that, which is handy, along with lots and lots of other benefits of having your student ID card. You do also need this. This is something that came in early this year. You need a unique student identifier. And what that does is that's a specific code that's attached to you, so that sort of regardless of where you're studying, we know exactly what sort of, I suppose, qualifications and studies you've been involved in. Is there anyone who already has a unique student identifier? Oh, well, I think I might move on in that case. Those of you who are online, can you just type in for me if you also happen to have your unique student identifier, because it's really important you've got that. Austin's got it, which is fantastic. Okay, yeah, so it looks like we're right. Fantastic. All right. In terms of transport, probably today parking would have been easy. Did lots of you come in? Who came in a car here or a bike or something? Right? Was parking up here easy? All right. Don't get too used to that, because it's not like that all the time. Often you'll come here and go, oh my goodness, every person from Adelaide has decided to come to Flinders today. So what I would suggest is if you have a 9 o'clock class, often it works pretty well. But if you have, say, an 11 o'clock class and you've got classes that have been running and big lectures that have been running, and then all of a sudden you've got a group of students already here and then the next group coming in, it is really busy. So if you've got an 11 o'clock class or a 1 o'clock class, try and aim to be here around 15 minutes early to give yourself a chance to, to get a park. You do need a parking permit to park here, so make sure you look at organising that. You can use on your phone, you can just do a day-by-day thing through Cello Park. So weigh up which one maybe is most cost-effective. It's probably more cost-effective to have one, for the whole semester. However, if you're only here 2 days a week, it might make more sense that you just pay for it each day. And in terms of your own cash flow and things like that, you need to just have a look at that. We have the train, obviously, that links now from the city all the way through to here. So that works really well. It's about 20 minutes. We also have a loop bus that will pick you up from the train station. It takes you to the main central hub, and it also then brings you up to here as well. So if you ever catch the train, the bus will pick you up immediately, and it will take you to key spots at the university. All right, but if you're all driving, then just know, come sort of early-ish for parking. We have lots and lots of money for scholarships, and this might be the sort of thing that you consider. Scholarships obviously are a very useful thing sometimes to sort of take the edge off that financial burden of being a student. So I won't go into this in detail, but just to let you know, there are scholarships available. If it's something that is of interest to you, have a look when you get these slides later at that particular link just there. In terms of safety, this is really important. It's everybody's right who's on campus to feel safe all of the time. You should feel safe in your classes. You should feel safe when you're actually walking around between classes. You should feel safe when you're going from here down to the hub and so on. Now, we do have security on the campus. They're a really significant team, actually, because there's about 25,000 students here. Then there's another 3,500 staff. So it's a big team. You'll notice on here, if you ever need any assistance from security, there's a phone number there and you can simply contact them. I must admit, I generally contact them if I'm locked out of a room. And I say, can you please let me in? And then they come up and they'll let me into a room. But just keep that in mind that, obviously everyone deserves to be safe. In terms of health, counselling and disability services, we do have various services available here. We recognise that at different stages throughout your degree completion, life happens. And what that means is you might have moments where you're not feeling as good as you'd like to feel. And you may like to reach out to some of these different services that are here. What I would suggest to you very, very strongly is when you're having that moment where you think, should I or shouldn't I? The answer is yes, do it. Go and reach out to people and get that support if you feel like you need it. If you only need it for a short time, fine. But know that support is there. We also have Oasis, which is a student wellbeing centre. For those of you in the room, I'll sort of point in the direction. It's sort of down this way. It's about a 5-minute walk roughly from the education building here. They offer lots and lots of I suppose, student wellbeing opportunities. You can see some of it there around yoga, mental fitness, and so on. Conversations if you're simply wanting to talk to somebody down there. But they do a fantastic job, and it's a pretty big team down there. In terms of different services that we have here, you'll see on the screen a number of different things. We've got prayer rooms, we've got conversation groups, equal opportunity advisors, Pride Network, Good Vibes experiments, etc. So lots and lots of different services available. So look out for those things if that might be of interest to you. We're obviously in orientation week right now, but what we don't want you to think is that this is it today. It actually continues all week. And this is a really good opportunity actually to sort of prep yourself for what you're doing in this second semester. Has everybody here done a tour of basically Flinders? Has everyone here? Those of you online, can you type in, we had 100% no rate actually in the room, just so that you're wondering, if you're wondering. So I just wondered if you've online, if you've done a tour. So Ella's no, so there we go. Across the whole group, we're at 100% no. What I would suggest is take the opportunity where you can to lock into a tour or have a wander, because even though I've been here for a little while, I get lost in this place constantly. Now, that would sound weird, but if I'm trying to get from here to the main hub on a day when it's raining, I then go, I can do this. And I can do it by being undercover the whole way. And I normally get about 2/3 of the way and I take a wrong turn and then I'm a little bit lost. So have a good look around. I'd be going to definitely places like the library. Go and check out the library, see where it actually is. Go and have a look at where all the food vendors and stuff are. When you're down there, you'll see where security are based, which is sort of down there. Wander through this building. So you're on the 2nd floor at the moment. Just down from us is the big lecture theatre. So some of your lectures will take place in there. Go and have a look at it. Go up the stairs here. Go into some of the different classrooms on level 3 and level 4. Wander up to level 5. That's where lots of the academic staff, where their offices happen to be. So have a bit of a look around everywhere. If you happen to be doing maths, wander across and check out where some of those classes might actually take place. If you're doing health and phys ed, you might want to go down to the Sturt campus and check out the gym and the tennis courts and the oval, because a lot of your classes will actually take place down there. All right, so take the chance to go and have a look at some of that. We also then have something called Connect Week. So classes will actually start sort of officially from next Monday, and lots of these extra things continue to happen. So it might be things like, well, how do you do academic referencing? Because sometimes people will say, I'm really good actually at writing a paper, but gosh, I'm just struggling with academic referencing. Like, how do I do in-text referencing? How do I do a final reference list? Well, Connect Week is an opportunity for you to be able to do some of those things where you actually look at perhaps taking one of those short sort of 1-hour sessions, which is all about how you do academic referencing, okay? All right, this one here, during Connect Week, we've got lots of things happening down in the hub. We've got quiz nights, comedy shows, fairs, picnic games, etc. So lots of things going on. I encourage you to be part of it where you possibly can. All right, it's question time. So I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you've got. There are 4 staff here who can answer your questions. So those of you online, if you do have a question, feel free to put that into the chat box now. For those of you in the room, if you've got a question, I'll probably give you the mic, because then people online can hear your question, and then we'll look to answer it. So any questions from in here at this stage? Now that suggests to me that I've been exceptionally thorough. Either that or you're thinking, I don't want that microphone. Let me just check any from online. Just while we're doing that, I'm wondering, Saya, would you mind putting in this email address just into the chat area for those people who are online? invariably what happens is you leave sessions like this and you go, actually, I do have a question. So when we do leave today at 12:30, I think it's just down the stairs. There's going to be an opportunity for people to eat and drink and chat. So feel free to come and ask me if you've got a question, or you can simply send me an email. So my name is Steve Corrie, and when you go onto your Flinders email, if you just type in steve.corrie, and I'll probably put my email address up here in a sec, you can send me through any questions that you happen to have. All right. If it's a health and phys ed specific question, send it to me initially if you'd like, and then I'll just forward it through to the right person for you. So one more chance. Any questions? Going once, going twice? Yes.
It's like, with like student IDs, can we do that today at the library?
What do you think? I'm thinking probably yes, they can probably do that down here. So for those people online, the question was, can we just organise our student IDs? And so yes, go down to Flinders Connect. You should be able to tee it up today. If you want to order it online, you should be able to just do it that way as well, and then arrange a time to collect it. So, yep. Anything further? Elena, anything further that you would add at this stage? Because you've been here for 1 or 2 years, so you know this place backwards. Anything further you would add?
Sorry. Be mindful of your timetable, your class registrations, and you have to be aware that you enroll in a topic and then you have to register for the classes. So you should have all of the classes should be registered, whether it's tutorials, lectures, workshops, so that your timetable is all final. And if you have put your name on a waiting list and you're still sitting on a waiting list, be mindful that those get removed, and then you are expected to go and choose a class to go into. So don't just sit there forever and think it's going to happen. You need to be actually checking your emails regularly to see if you've got communications about, things like that.
I think the only other thing I would like to add is that when we email you or when you want to email us, please use your Flinders email account, not your personal email, because sometimes emails that come from personal email accounts can go to a strange black box that would never see the daylight. So, and if you sent it from there and waiting for a response, it's probably gone somewhere that we don't know. So please use your Flinders email account, okay?
Karaoke opportunity? No? Just picking up on what Saya said with the emails, I just also really encourage you, check your emails at least once a day. My daughter studies here, so she's down the hill doing paramedics, and she's become good at it. But in the first month, she was terrible at it. And then you miss stuff. And you think, why don't I know this? Well, because you didn't check your emails. So check your emails at least once a day, and that will keep you up to speed with the things that you need to know. Okay. All right. Any further questions before we wrap up? For those people who are online, you'll notice that I've just put my email address in the chat box there. I'm going to put it up on here in a moment for anyone here. If you want to take a photo of that or something, you can. But otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. We're going to sort of wrap up the session just now, and feel free when you do head out. If anyone needs to go to the bathroom, sort of go up to the left and left again, and you'll notice bathrooms there. But otherwise, just down here, we've got sort of different things happening in about 10 minutes time. All right. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to those of you online. And I look forward to working with all of you over the course of not just the next semester, but over the next few years. Fantastic. Thanks, everybody.